All right, guys, welcome back to the Hockey Doc Talk Show with Dr. Felix Justin. We're here today at our new location, Palmacare Chiropractic in Fairfax City. We've got Rob, G and Papa in the background with from Rebel Run Sports. Today we're going to talk about a little bit about functional exercises and strength training. Some of my hockey players have been contacting me asking me, what's the difference, Doc, and why is one more important than the other? So there's a lot of confusing information out there. Functional exercise is a specific exercise that replicates activities that you do in a daily, in your sport or for home, like gardening. In hockey, it's you're skating back and forth, or for my goalies, you're going side to side. But functional exercises affect the neuromuscular system. So, and that's a great tie for the chiropractic world, is that when it affects the neuromuscular system, it's the nerves that help with the strength of the muscle, with the quick reaction time for the muscles, especially for our goalies. And regular weightlifting usually tries to isolate and contract just one or two muscle groups. So strength training is good, don't get me wrong, but it's my belief that you have to combine both of them, and you have to have a good coach, good doctor to guide you and help you put together that workout plan. It's so important. One of the important things with functional exercise is that it improves range of motion. There's speed and movements and agilities. There's different types of transitional strength that we need to do these movements. Not everyone can do it. Not everyone can start off doing these, especially if you've been more of a traditional weightlifter all your life. It really humbles you. But at the same time, it strengthens up what we call the stabilizer muscles. And the stabilizer muscles could be in the spine, could be in the ankle, could be in the shoulder, wrist, elbow, whatever your sport is and that you're trying to achieve to get stronger and more durable for that season. Being that we're in the middle of summer right now, most of my hockey players are out there working on their speed and agility and and getting that strength down a little bit more, right? So this definitely helps improve the stabilizers, right? The core stabilizers in our spine. An example of an exercise for this would be an Olympic lift. Most people hate the Olympic lift, but I did some training out in Colorado Springs at the Olympic Training Center, and the Olympic lift is perfect for explosion. In fact, it's one of the lifts that we now recommend for our players to be able to do before they return back to the ice after a concussion. All right, because you're using more dynamic muscle groups, so it's going to give us a better vision. Can your nervous system handle this, right? So it's a great exercise. Again, functional movements can be stabilizers of the ankle, of the joint. We need to all work that out. A lot of people, a lot of my hockey players ask me, what's a good exercise for explosion, right? So when you see that puck and you got to go get it in the corner in the boards, you got to explode, skate there, and make it quicker than the defensive player, right? So one of the things that I like is the Olympic lifts, because everyone comes to me and say, hey, Doc, how about the leg press? You know, I've got 4 or 5 plates on each side. The leg press is going to get me there. That's a good strengthening. We need strength in our muscles, but the explosion comes out of the Olympic lift. The explosion is what we need to get you there quicker, faster. Your nervous system needs to reset and fire so quickly so that you can respond and have it be just a second thought, right? So your body's reacting that way. A lot of times when we're injured, you know, we take a hit to the boards, or we fall, or you know, we get blindsided. Our nervous system gets affected by this, right? And so this is where the chiropractic and the preventative come together and meet in the hockey world. This is where the adjustment helps open up that nervous system so that the muscles start firing even quicker. A lot of times it increases your strength, it increases your endurance, it increases your explosive power, it increases your reaction time as well, which all fall under the category of functional movement. functional exercises. Now, some of these exercises have also what we call functional screenings. So we have the player do a certain exercise which will tell us if you're failing. And if you're failing, these are the muscle groups that we need to work. So my coaches, what they do is they coordinate with me to have me adjust that area so that at the same time they're working on these muscle groups in practice or with their trainers, right? This way, we're getting the best bang for our buck. So football season here in Fairfax is getting ready to start. Mini camps are starting next week. I'm super excited. And you know, my football players have been asking about what should they do to prepare for the season. And so I'm going to give you a couple tips to prepare for the season, all right? And it's going to involve functional movements as well as your traditional exercises. One of the things for our football players that's so important is the Olympic lift. That's a functional movement exercise. So important because it's so dynamic. You use so many more muscle groups than you do in your traditional squat or your traditional deadlift that it prepares you for that explosive power. So when you're exploding right off the line, it gets you quicker and faster, so your reaction times are improving. But again, you need to strengthen. You need to have those legs and those glutes and everything ready to fire. So that's where the squat comes in. You got to get deep on that squat, parallel. Some of the coaches and docs out there say go below parallel. I've always liked parallel. Just enough. I don't like to put a lot of stress on the knees, but that is so important there to build mass both in the glutes and both in your quads and hamstring. That helps so that you're able to do the functional movement, so you're able to explode. So that's tip number one. Tip number two, ankle mobility. It's so important. So ankle mobility for our football players so that we don't get injured. One of the ways to do this is that you're standing up. You put your toe up against the wall, and when you put your toe up against the wall, you take the other foot and put it right behind, right on the edge of that heel, okay? So at that point, what you're going to do is you're going to take that knee, all right, of the particular foot that's behind the toe, and you're going to try to get that knee up against the wall. It should go over without your heel lifting up. So if your heel lifts up, that ankle is stiff and probably has a lot of scar tissue in there. So that's where we come in as the chiropractors, is we're able to mobilize that, get that scar tissue out, get that ankle mobility going. If your school has one, you can use a vibration platform. If your gym has one, you can use a vibration platform. That will help get that motion back into that, get to what we call the proprioception, get those sensors firing so you're more stable and you're less likely to get ankle sprains. So those are two good tips for my football players that they can do on their own to have the explosive power and to keep those ankles, because that's what we see at the beginning of training camp, more ankle sprains and people not having enough power out there because they haven't worked out, they haven't done anything. So those are really good exercises to start doing. Get there, get your mobility going, and listen to your coaches. So it's so important to get these functional exercises going. But please don't forget, the traditional weightlifting. Yes, we do need to do our squats, and we do need to do our bench press and bicep curls and tricep extensions. Those are all good because we need to put some bulk and a little bit more size on us, especially when we're taking those hits. That's important. So it's a good way to combo. I always say, do an 8-week session, 8-week session of each, right? 8-week session of functional exercises, and you do 8-week session of just building strength. So important to mix that, all right? Because the functional exercises are going to improve all the ranges of motion and the flexibility portion of it that sometimes with our traditional lifting tends to make us less mobile or tighter, for lack of a better word. So this was the difference, and I find that was a pretty cool question that some of our players have been asking us. Keep the questions coming, guys. Give us, like us on Facebook, and it's Palmer Care Chiropractic Fairfax on Twitter. Our office number is 703-651-0166. Reach out to us. We've got Hockey Doc, Dr. Felix Yeskin, the Hockey Doc on Facebook. Follow us, Instagram, Twitter as well, the Hockey Doc. More than happy to answer your questions. Send us some questions, send us some feedback. Go to iTunes and like and subscribe so you can get these podcasts. Go to our YouTube channel as well and like so you can get the video portion of it. I can't wait to get you to hockey season to start, to get you the new format and really start bringing in more coaches and more players on the show and give you more statistics. So I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Take care.